The man accused in the Visions nightclub shooting over the weekend says he was acting in self-defense.
And the city of Madison wants to hear from you about new bus routes that should cut run times down pretty dramatically.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning. It is Wednesday, December 12th, and the breaking news right now, that snow starting to fall pretty good out
Coming
there.
down here at the station, yeah.
Can you hear Chris singing outside?
I know.
Christmas carols. He's excited.
He's trying to build a snowman already.
It's going to take a lot. We don't have a lot of snow in the forecast today, but it will come during the morning commute. So timing is everything with this event. And we do have an alert day in effect today because of the fact that the snow is coming during the morning commute. There also is the potential for a little bit of freezing rain as the snow comes to an end mid-morning. A pretty narrow band of snow has developed. Winter weather advisories are in effect for the entire area until noon today. Here's a look at that narrow band of snow, just several miles wide. But otherwise, it is a little heavy in some spots. You can see those darker blue shaded areas just west of Madison on the western edge of Dane County. That's likely some heavier snow that will accumulate rather quickly on the roads and anything outside. Temperatures are right around the freezing point, if not just a little bit above. We'll hold steady through the day. In fact, here's your temperature trend over the next 12 hours. Not a lot of movement there on those numbers. 34 later on this afternoon. Now let's get a look at your first alert traffic maps. I would imagine that conditions are going to change pretty rapidly here in the Madison area, so be aware of that. Allow yourself some extra time this morning. We're already starting to see some brake lights show up on Stoughton Road as you approach the Beltline. Otherwise, right now, I don't know of any accidents report, which is great news, but again, with the snow falling, stay alert this morning.
Yeah, we were definitely preparing people too. So hopefully you set the alarm a little bit early and get out the door a little bit sooner.
Just even 5 minutes makes all the difference.
It does. You got that right. All right, thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
All right, let's turn it over to Josh Sprider now. He's keeping an eye on your morning commute as the snow starts coming down. How's it looking out there, Josh?
Good morning. I don't know if you can tell, but the flakes are starting to fall. We're near the Beltline at Fish Hatchery Road, and we'll give you a closer look. You can see the flurries flying maybe up there with that light this morning. They just started flying within the last 5 or 8 minutes or so. We did just see a plow truck go by on the Beltline. They're pre-treating those roads right now. I'm told the county was out overnight. They came in around 3 a.m. and they were ready for this, and they're ready to rock right now. As far as the city of Madison crews, they were out yesterday pre-treating those roads. Even with that, though, city crews are advising you to give yourself some extra time with this commute this morning because of when this snow is coming in and the type of snow we're going to be experiencing. It will make for some slick conditions, especially in those untreated areas, especially when it comes to those residential areas. So give yourself some extra time this morning when you're headed out. We're going to keep monitoring these roads. But again, just saw that plow truck go by. And you know, ladies, Chris Reese was just tweeting at me, the curse of Josh Sprider is real. You should have known, putting me out here in the morning, we were going to make for a messy commute. So
hey,
I'm
Josh,
sorry to everyone at home. It's
you
real.
asked for this. You asked for some flakes. Remember that.
I did. Well, you know, I've got all the gear on. I'm not out here for nothing. You got to pay me for something.
That's true, as long as you're driving safe. All right, Josh Sprider reporting live for us. Thank you, Josh.
6:03 right now. Madison police are still trying to figure out what happened inside Visions nightclub early Sunday morning, I should say. 4 people were shot, and prosecutors say 1 person is still in the hospital. The suspected gunman is 35-year-old Cole Foster. He appeared in court for the first time yesterday. Foster's lawyer argues his client did not fire every shot and that he was acting out of self-defense after he was stabbed multiple times in a fight. It's still unclear what caused the fight in the first place. A judge ordered a $150,000 cash bond in this case. Foster is scheduled to be back in court next week. And after multiple incidents near Visions, the neighboring gas station says it will no longer run 24 hours a day. The Quick Trip on East Washington Avenue will close at 10 p.m. for the next couple weeks and then midnight after that.
Madison police are trying to cut down on the number of carjackings in our area with some tips to help avoid it from happening to you. Now, we've talked about these carjackings, most recently happening at a Westside Walgreens and even a couple of daycares over the past week or so. Police say always be aware of your surroundings, especially in places prone to carjackings, places like gas stations, deserted intersections, parking garages, even your own driveway. Also, avoid driving alone at night and park in well-lit areas close to buildings whenever possible. Now, if you do get your car stolen, police say arguing with the robber, not the best idea. Instead, try and remember what they looked like so you can give a good description to officers later.
There could soon be a way to get the family from one side of the city to the other more quickly on public transit.
Yeah, this is pretty exciting. Before the bus rapid transit system goes up, the city wants to hear from you. Christina Lurie is here now to talk about how you can get involved in the planning process yourself. Good morning, Christina.
Good morning, ladies. Who doesn't want to cut down on their commute time?
Yeah, no one.
That's
no
a good
one.
conversation starter,
Yep.
right? And tonight you have the opportunity to voice your needs, concerns, and priorities during a public input meeting about the city's new bus rapid transit line. The city of Madison is exploring options for its new BRT to make our city's transit system work faster and smarter. The BRT would create designated lanes with limited stops for drivers, plus modern stations, larger specialized buses, and other enhancements like Wi-Fi added to the already existing metro fleet. City officials hope the changes will provide a faster, more cost-effective service to get people to work, schools, sporting events, and other entertainment options more quickly. Director of Transportation Tom Lynch says Madison's system would complement existing Madison metro routes and be our city's next big step towards future growth.
Madison has very high transit numbers for a city our size, and perhaps part of that might be our geography. You know, we have a good, thriving metro system. I think 51 million trips a year, and so because we are so good with transit, you know, BRT makes sense.
The goal of the planning study is to develop a plan and initial design for the BRT route, and then after that, the plan has been developed. The city will apply for federal funding to finish design and build the route. The city will build the route from east to west and hopes to have it complete by as early as the year 2023. You can attend that public meeting tonight at 6 o'clock at the Central Library downtown.
Who doesn't love another option to get to your location faster?
Absolutely, and this has been a long time coming since about 2011, and back then when they did a study, the number of people using the public transport system was up 30%, but they had only increased hours 5%.
All right.
So
have your voice heard at that meeting tonight. Christina Lurie reporting for us. Thank you.
You're welcome.
6:07 right now. New this morning, the CDC now says that fentanyl is the deadliest drug in America. We've mentioned this dangerous drug before. It's a synthetic painkiller that's up to 100 times more potent than morphine, several times stronger than heroin. Small traces of this can be fatal. Fentanyl is involved in almost a third of heroin overdoses in the United States. That was between 2013 and 2016. In that same time span, the rate of drug overdoses involving fentanyl more than doubled. Last year alone, more than 18,000 people died as a result of fentanyl intake.
There's a new report out this morning that has Wisconsin dropping in the country's health rankings. The United Health Foundation says we are down 2 places to 23rd in the race for the healthiest state. Some of our top issues are excessive drinking. We're one of the worst in the U.S. for that, and low per capita public health funding. We're ranked 47th on that measure. In the past 6 years, obesity has increased 16%, now impacting 32% of adults in the state. We do have some strengths, though, including low levels of air pollution and a low percentage of uninsured people. All right, 6:08 your time now. A group of environmentalists here in Wisconsin wants to see more from the state when it comes to a Taiwanese tech company getting permission to pull lots of water from Lake Michigan. We're going to tell you what they're demanding from the DNR.
Before that, though, it is an alert day in the News 3 Weather Center as we brace for what could be a very slippery commute out there. Hattie shares what you need to know before heading out the door when News 3 This Morning returns.
Good morning from the backyard weather patio. We do have snow coming down right now. It almost is like a grapple, kind of little chunks of snow falling, not the big fat snowflakes. So be aware of that as you head out the door. We do have the snow moving through the area this morning. Accumulations are going to be pretty light, but it's still an alert day for southern Wisconsin due to the timing of the event. It's happening right during the morning commute. Roads may be a little slippery because this snow will accumulate rather quickly on the surfaces. Here's a look at your winter weather advisories that are in effect. The entire area is under winter weather advisory until noon today. Those may be canceled a little early. It's a pretty narrow band of snow that has developed. Not a whole lot happening to the west of that band of snow, but it may still produce a little bit of light freezing drizzle as it comes to an end this morning. But that band of snow is just now starting to move into the Madison area. Heaviest snow accumulations are going to be north of the Dells with this particular event. If we zoom the map out a little bit, you can see that things are rather quiet across Minnesota and Iowa right now. Now, Future Track has a pretty good handle on this event. It takes it through the area by about 8 o'clock or 8:30 this morning. Really, the snow coming to an end for Madison, and then quickly lifting out of the area as we head towards the middle of the day. We are going to be stuck with clouds, though, for the afternoon, and temperatures are not going to move much. They'll hold nearly steady in the low to mid 30s. Maybe a little window of clearing late tonight into early Thursday before the next storm system moves in, and this one does bring a chance for, once again, some mixed precipitation starting late Thursday. Most of the day on Thursday will be dry. This will be an after dark event on Thursday, and it will come to an end pretty quickly on Friday morning. Latest forecast models are keeping most of that rain and moisture with that next system to our south and east. Here's a look at our almanac for the day today. We dropped to 29 earlier in the nighttime hours, but we're back up to 33. Forecast high is 34, so we're not moving too much today. In fact, take a look at these temperatures across the area. 33 in Madison, as mild as 36 this morning in Janesville, 32 in the Dells, even 34 in Platteville. Our winds are from the southeast this morning, anywhere from 5 to 12 miles per hour. They'll eventually shift around to the southwest later today. Future Track forecast model here in southern Wisconsin shows you how quickly that snow moves through the area and again winds down. So this is just a morning event for us. Temperatures of the clouds will be right around 34 later on this afternoon. Here's a look at your extended forecast then. Temperatures even warm a little bit more as we go through the rest of the week. 38 for a high on Thursday with mostly cloudy skies. There is a chance for some mixy precipitation late Thursday into Friday morning early. Otherwise, a quiet weather pattern setting up again for the weekend into the start of next week. Now let's get a look at those first alert traffic maps. Again, with snow coming down here in Madison, I want to add a little extra time. Jason Stone has all the details.
Thank you. No major incidents on the Beltline as motorists are scattered and driving at the posted speed limit. Expect heavier volume at the interchanges. Drivers will have some delays on Verona Road near the intersection at Highway PD. Otherwise, it's mostly clear on all major routes heading into Madison. Traffic is building up on West Wilson and on Proudfoot Street, while the rest of downtown is moving well. Give yourself extra time if you haven't started your commute, and be prepared for slippery roads while precipitation falls. With your first alert traffic, I'm Jason Stone.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Hattie. In Rock County this morning, the Ho-Chunk Nation is one step closer to having the go-ahead to build a casino in Beloit. The Bureau of Indian Affairs thinks it has enough support now to get that project approved after a public meeting last night. City leaders talked about the economic benefits that the 140,000 square foot casino could bring to the area, though a handful of others said those don't outweigh the moral negatives of gambling. If it makes it past the public comment phase, this project is going to head to the governor's desk, where Tony Evers has said in the past he would sign it. If you still want to add your voice to the mix, we have a link to where you can submit your comments over on channel3000.com.
An environmental law center is suing the Wisconsin DNR after that agency allegedly refused to hand over records related to Foxconn taking water from Lake Michigan. Now, the DNR approved a request from leaders in Racine allowing the Taiwanese tech company to pull millions of gallons of water a day from the lake. That would go to the massive plant being built in that area. Midwest environmental advocates challenged that decision, saying they only got some records from the DNR, but that the agency withheld others. On Capitol Hill this morning, the nearly $900 billion farm bill is headed to the House. The Senate approved that bill yesterday with an 87-13 vote. This bill is meant to help Wisconsin farmers and farmers across the country who have been affected by low commodity prices and the ongoing trade war by allocating billions of dollars in subsidies. Now, it also legalizes industrial hemp farming nationwide, something that Wisconsin just did. They had their first season this year. It also includes changes to crop insurance and food stamps. President Trump has expressed support for the bill and says it will likely be signed into law.
A deer farm up in Washington County is wiped out this morning after ag officials counted 11 more cases of chronic wasting disease among its herd. The state's Department of Ag quarantined the farm after a deer tested positive back in March. And just this week, the department said 11 more deer there have tested positive. Officials killed the remaining deer and elk on that farm last month. This comes after 22 deer had to be killed up in Bayfield County back in April. Those deer came from this same Washington County farm.
A recovery center here in Madison is offering more than traditional treatment to help patients struggling with opioid addiction. Tellurolian is now offering recovery coaches. Those coaches have often dealt with addiction themselves. They're trained to help others through the process of getting treatment, working with health insurance companies, and ultimately maintaining sobriety. Those coaches are now part of Tellurolian's medication-assisted treatment program, which uses medicine to help the brain become less dependent on opioids in addition to therapy. You can find out more information on the center's treatment programs at tellurolian.org.
Almost 6:18 your time now. The big story weather-wise is the snow that's just starting to fall, but we could also break a record today for rain.
Chris Reese already celebrating this morning out on the weather patio. Woo, he's doing his little dance in the Christmas trees, feeling festive. Chris is saying we need like 40 inches of snow to be the wettest year in Wisconsin history.
He wants 40 inches.
I
Look
know
at
he
that
does.
smile.
I know he does. We'll see if Chris thinks that that'll actually happen when News 3 this morning returns. You go, boy.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Hattie McClain. If you're just waking up, here's the view from the WISC-TV Skycam, our parking lot on the west side of town. You can see snow coming down pretty hard in the street lamp there, or the light in the parking lot. It is starting to accumulate on all those surfaces as well. Winter weather advisories are in effect for the area until noon today. This is not going to be a school canceling snow by any means, but it may slow things down on the way to school this morning. The narrow band of snow is lifting through the area pretty quickly. There are some heavier snow showers embedded within that band, though, especially on the western edge. Here's a look at our temperatures this morning. It's not terribly cold. It's actually pretty mild outside. 33 in Madison, 34 in Mineral Point, 32 in the Dells. Here's a look at your bus stop weather forecast. Snow likely falling as you head to school today. It'll come to an end pretty quickly, though. By the time you're on your way home from school, temperatures will be in the mid-30s with cloudy skies. Have a wonderful day.
All right, thank you so much, Hattie. If we even get a trace of that rain and snow that Hattie is talking about today, we're going to move up the list of wettest years ever here in Wisconsin.
I think we got that trace. Meteorologist Chris Reese is in to tell us where exactly we stand. Here, you got a little snow on your shoulder.
A little snow on my
Just
shoulder?
a little bit.
I know, gotta brush it off. I'm hoping for more. That's right, though. We do have a chance to make it into the second place for wettest year ever.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to make it in the first, but right now we are tied for second, and all we need is just a little bit of measurable precip, 0.1, or 0.01 at that. That's all we need to make it into the second wettest year. And so you see where we stand now. Second place is lame. Who wants to be in the first place? I think a lot of folks wouldn't mind not making it to first place.
That's true with this, yeah.
But if we wanted to hit first place, we would need 3.72 inches of precipitation, whether frozen or liquid. Just precipitation in general to amount to 3.72 inches. Here's the deal, though. That is more than double what we normally see for the month of December. And this month has already been a fairly dry month, and it does not look like we will see much going through the rest of the month either. At least this is the next 10 days, and we are looking at maybe 11/100ths of an inch. So that would be enough to keep us in a solid second place, but not to make it all the way into first place. Now, I'll say this. The Climate Prediction Center does believe that we'll have an above normal chance for a chance for above normal precipitation rather as we go through about the next 8 to 14 days. The thing is, when you look at the pattern, things really do look dry for now, and it's possible that this outlook could always be wrong. It doesn't look too hot right now, so.
Well, and you were telling us like 3.7 that we need, or 3.72 to be the wettest year on record is like 40 inches of snow.
That would be 37 inches of snow at a 10 to 1. That's not going to happen.
No, well,
I don't see it. Well,
I mean, now he's jinxed it, right?
Which is exactly what he wants to do.
You know, it's not going to happen.
That's a lot of snow.
That's a lot of
December.
snow to get within the next 2 weeks, and it just does not look likely. But as Leah said, I could have jinxed it. Never say never when it comes to Mother Nature.
He's got his fingers
That
crossed.
is the lesson that I have learned living in Wisconsin, that extremes are normal around here. But right now it's been extremely dry in terms of rain and snow for December.
All right. Well, thanks for that lowdown. We appreciate it.
Anytime.
And we'll cross our fingers to not get into first place.
Let's not get that. Maybe over the course of a winter, but in 2 weeks, that's wild.
Not today.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
Anytime.
Well, speaking of anything falling from the sky, you saw the flakes flying when we talked to Josh Breiter last. He's still monitoring the roads around Madison this morning. We'll check in with him again next.
And you're saying there's a chance. There's a reason for Governor-elect Tony Evers to keep his fingers crossed about Governor Walker vetoing some of the legislation that was just passed to limit his power in office. The news is back in the morning on News 3 this morning. Janesville police want longer lunch times for the city's high schoolers after a speeding teenager caused a fatal crash.
The snow was flying and it could make for a mess of a morning commute. I'm Josh Brighter live with the latest conditions straight ahead.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to the final half hour of News 3 This Morning, 6:29 on this Wednesday, December 12th. And you cannot say Hattie didn't warn us.
Exactly. The flakes are already flying out there. Hattie is not doing a happy dance because she's from Wisconsin. She's seen this before. How's it feeling out there?
Well, it's nice. It looks very pretty. Real life snow globe right now. The snow's coming down pretty hard here on the west side. Oh, there we go. Hey, how about that? This is the backyard weather patio, the snow globe. It is pretty. It's starting to accumulate on the ground, so keep that in mind if you're headed out the door shortly. Here's what you can for southern Wisconsin, across southern Wisconsin, due to the timing of this event. Now, we are looking at light snow. It's already occurring here in Madison, but it's already come to an end for parts of southwestern Wisconsin. So a very short time frame that we're going to see this snow. Any accumulations likely to be less than an inch. Freezing rain, though, is still possible today. Cannot rule that out as this storm winds down mid-morning. Winter weather advisories are in effect for the entire area until noon today. We'll see if the National Weather Service actually keeps them in place until noon. But right now, with the snow, especially here in Madison, it is appropriate. You can see that narrow band of snow lifting through the area. Some heavier bands within it, especially on the western edge. So keep that in mind. There is still that potential for a little bit of freezing rain today as well. Temperatures will hold nearly steady in the low to mid 30s today, so we're not moving much with those temps. This is just going to be a morning precipitation event, though. Things will be drying out by the time you hit the afternoon. Let's take a look at those first alert traffic maps this morning. Before I headed outside, things were quiet, and they're still relatively quiet. Seeing some brake lights showing up on the belt line right around the Verona Road interchange as well as Stoughton Road. But otherwise, no major delays. Looking elsewhere as you head into Madison and those major routes traveling into the city, still going at posted speeds, so no accidents to report right now. But again, slow down, give yourself a little extra time. The snowflakes are starting to get a little bigger now, so snow's going to be heavy for the next half hour here in Madison.
All right. Thank you, Hattie. Speaking of traffic, Josh Brighter has a live look at your morning commute as that snow continues to fall. Josh, what's the update?
Good morning. The snow started falling here where we're at just before 6, but it's really starting to come down. And this is why this snowfall is going to be so dangerous. It's the type of snow that's falling. It's a very fine snow, and that's what street crews say is really going to cause a problem as far as those road conditions go. Here's a live look at the Beltline right now. We are near Fish Hatchery Road, where we've seen several plow and salt trucks going by here within the last half hour or so. They've been ready all morning for this snow to fall. Traffic is still moving along just fine, but we have noticed them slowing down just a little bit more, which that's what city crews are saying you should be doing at that time. As far as the city of Madison, they were out pre-treating the roads yesterday, preparing for the system ahead of what was expected to be a very messy commute, and it came in really at a bad time this morning, like I said, just before 6 o'clock. So they are advising you to give yourself some extra time if you're heading off to work or school this morning. But again, traffic moving along just fine, but that snow really starting to come down out here, so give yourself a little extra time as you're heading off to school or work. We'll send it back to you.
Pretty scene, but take it slow. Josh Brighter reporting live for us. Thank you, Josh.
Janesville police are looking for ways to make sure high schoolers are driving safely around lunchtime after a fatal crash in that city. Parker High School student Ty Matijevic officially faces homicide by negligent driving charges this morning, and he could be sentenced to 10 years in prison. In October, police say he was going almost 80 miles an hour on Milton Avenue when he hit another car, killing the 74-year-old driver. Now, officers say the lunchtime rush is a problem because hundreds of inexperienced and perhaps less attentive drivers suddenly are all out on the roads in a time crunch. Janesville police are suggesting extending that lunch period, issuing more tickets to students caught speeding, and even closing campuses so students can't leave for food. By the way, Matijevic will be back in court for his preliminary hearing after the new year.
Governor Walker says he's considering a veto of certain items in a series of bills passed by Republican lawmakers last week. Democrats argued that legislation will strip the incoming governor and attorney general of some of their power. Talking to reporters yesterday, the governor didn't specify what he might veto, but said his legal team is scouring the bills right now, and that the idea that Governor-elect Tony Evers will be stripped of any power is mostly hype and hysteria. Governor Walker has until the 27th to take action on those bills. With less than a month until the state of Wisconsin has its new governor and lieutenant governor, tickets are on sale now to attend the inauguration gala. Those tickets cost $35. Both Evers and Lieutenant Governor-elect Mandela Barnes will be sworn into office on January 7th. The black tie party will take place later that night at the Monona Terrace.
There's a reminder from Madison City leaders this morning that property tax bills will be in the mail soon, which means they'll be in your mailbox soon as well. After the most recent round of assessments this year, property values went up by an average of 7% across the city. Some homeowners, though, saw their assessments increase as much as 14%. Now, tax payments have to be postmarked on or before December 31st in order to be processed as paid for 2018. Property taxes can also be paid online or over the phone. 6:34 right now, and as soon as 2023, there could be a quicker way to get around the city of Madison.
Yeah, but first, the city needs your input on the bus rapid transit system. Christina Laurie is here now with how you can help. Good morning, Christina.
Good morning, ladies. Madison City leaders want to help you cut down on your commute times. Well, probably not you guys who drive to work at 2 in the morning.
That's true.
But they're asking everyone else to help them plan the new bus rapid transit system. The new BRT would have designated lanes with limited stops, helping people get to work, school, and other places more quickly. More buses would be added to the already existing Metro Transit fleet with new features like onboard Wi-Fi. Director of Transportation Tom Lynch says Madison has very high transit numbers for a city our size and calls this an exciting time for Madison, where we have the chance to build the infrastructure backbone to serve our community for generations to come.
I think the idea with bus rapid transit is to make it a priority transportation, so it gets priority to get to its destinations.
The project's planning phase will finish up by next fall. Construction of the east to west BRT route would then wrap up around 2023 or 2024. The public input meeting is tonight at 6 o'clock at the Central Library. That's downtown. And if you can't make the meeting, we have a link on our website, channel3000.com.
All right, Christina Laurie reporting for us. Thank you, Christina.
You're welcome.
All right, your time right now is 6:35. We are learning more about the shooting at Visions nightclub over the weekend. The suspect's lawyer says he was not the only one firing shots. We will have more in the morning sprint.
And it's people, helping more people this morning. And we get to take a look at an awesome lights display. Does it get better than that? I don't think so. Stories coming up on News 3 this morning.
Welcome back. It is 6:39 on this Wednesday morning, and we wanted to share my morning picture from Martha. This one was emailed to us. Her kitty cat all nice and warm, getting updated on all of the news of the morning on the morning sprint. My goodness, as Leah put it, what an educated animal.
Yeah, let me tell you, that cat's IQ is off the charts after watching the morning sprint.
You would hope so, at least. If we're doing our job, then that's the case. Prepared for the day, that cat is right there.
Indeed. Thank you for sharing, Martha. What does your morning look like? Take a picture, post it on our Facebook page or on Twitter, and use the hashtag MyNews3Morning so Danica and I can find our favorites and share them right here on the program.
So a Walworth County family is showing off some elaborate lights. That's, not a big deal. That's much more, though, than a choreographed show.
Yeah, it's actually helping to transform a church in Elkhorn.
There is no more joy than when you hit play, when you press play, and the show starts and you see the lights and you see how magical and what the lights can do.
Okay, so that is JT Worley, who turns his house into a musically timed light show every year. A car salesman loved it and wanted JT to deck out his dealership with festive lights. So instead of payment, JT asked him to donate the labor costs to his church that's trying to pay off $25,000 in repairs, including electrical equipment that was damaged in a lightning strike this summer. The car dealership agreed to pay the entire bill.
That was a huge surprise to us. I mean, we're still speechless about it. It's amazing how giving to others then instills in you the desire to give as well.
Okay, first of all, that lights display is incredible.
It's unbelievable, yeah.
But the humanity also just warms your heart.
Yeah, it's a good all-around holiday story. I know that takes so much time and energy to put up, energy both with your lighting bill and then also with
exactly
the amount of labor. So good on everybody for putting the effort out there.
And to do it for somebody else. I love that story.
Yeah, absolutely. 6:41 right now. Any lights out there are going to feel a little more festive by the end of the day. That's because of this right here. Hattie is calling for even more of snow coming up. Later this morning, we should get maybe about an inch out there by the end of the storm. We do have an alert day and winter weather advisories to talk about, though. It's all coming up.
But first, if you have a little kiddo turning 3 soon, please let us know so we can show their picture on TV. Thanks for watching News 3 This Morning.
Good morning from the News 3 First Alert Weather Center. It is an alert day today for southern Wisconsin. We're talking about some light snow accumulation, and we could use some snow around here. Take a look at the current snow depth, virtually bare ground across the southern part of the state. There are a few inches of snow on the ground as you head up to central and northern Wisconsin, but normally at this time of the month, the map would look a little bit differently. We would see some higher snow totals, especially in the north woods. Things have been pretty dry around here. We will add to that snow, but not by much. Here's a look at the snow potential. You can see just a few hundredths of an inch, maybe a couple tenths up to a half an inch here in Madison today. So not a lot of snow coming today, but it is coming at a bad time right during the morning commute. So that's why we're issuing an alert day for today. Here's again a look at those snow potentials, up to around an inch possible north of Madison. It'll be a quick accumulation of snow, just a couple hour period that we're looking at this snow impacting the area. Winter weather advisories are in effect for the entire area. None have been canceled just yet. Take a look at the radar map this morning. It's a pretty narrow band with the heaviest snow now working its way through the Madison area. It will continue to lift off to the north and east, drying out behind it. But as the atmosphere dries out, there's the potential for a little bit of freezing drizzle on the backside of this system. Not a whole lot happening though across Minnesota at this time. A little bit of snow developing in northeastern Iowa. So a few flurries possible as we head towards the middle of the day, but the accumulating snow will be this morning. Temperatures now across the region are in the 30s for southern Wisconsin. A little bit colder to the north and west, but not much. We're looking at temperatures in the mid-20s in Minneapolis this morning. Contrast that with 33 here in Madison, 32 in the Dells, 34 in Mineral Point. Looks like the warm spot for our area right now is Janesville with 36 degrees. Now our winds are from the southeast this morning, but they will be shifting around to the south and west as we head towards the afternoon, staying anywhere from 5 to 12 miles per hour, so a little bit breezy at times. Those winds should diminish as we head into the overnight hours tonight. Here's a look at your future track forecast model. If you're trying to time out this band of snow, don't blink, because as we put this map into motion, quickly moves out of the Madison area. Still snowing north and east of Madison by 8 o'clock this morning, but that snow does lift out of the region by midday. We're left with just cloudy skies. Note the temperatures are not moving much, staying steady in the low to mid 30s right through the afternoon. Now here's a look at that extended forecast then. We have temperatures that will even warm up a little bit more heading towards the end of the week. 38 for a high on Thursday. There is a small chance for some mix Thursday night into Friday morning. Otherwise, a dry forecast coming up heading into next week. We're looking at 30s for highs right through the week. Let's get a look at our pet walk forecast. This is Manny in Middleton. Is this the face when you look out the window today if you didn't want the snow? Is that what you meant?
Either that or his awesome attempt to smile. That's just how Manny goes, all right, I like the snow.
Let's go with the smile.
That's true. It's pretty outside. The snow is accumulating. So
all right. Thank you, Hattie.
Morning Sprint's coming up next right here on News. It is almost 6:51. Time now for the morning sprint. Hattie is saying we could see about an inch of snow around the area this morning.
Josh Sprider has an update on the roads for your slippery morning commute. And Christina Laurie is talking about how you can get involved in the plans for a new transportation system in town. But we start on Madison's east side, where police are still working to figure out what led to a nightclub shooting over the weekend. 35-year-old Cole Foster is accused of firing those shots that hit 4 people, one of them still in the hospital this morning. Foster's lawyer argues his client didn't fire every shot and that he was acting out of self-defense after he was stabbed multiple times in a fight. It's still unclear what caused that fight in the first place.
Janesville police are calling for longer lunch periods and more tickets for students who speed. This comes after a Parker High School student could be sentenced to 10 years in prison for allegedly causing a fatal crash back in October. Police say he was going almost 80 miles an hour on Milton Avenue during its lunch break when he hit another car and killed the 74-year-old driver.
Madison police are asking people to be aware of their surroundings after a number of recent carjackings, some at a West Side Walgreens and even a couple of daycares. Officers say you should stay alert in parking lots, empty intersections, even your own driveway. Avoid driving alone at night and park in well-lit areas close to buildings whenever possible. If you do get your car stolen, police say don't try to argue with a robber. Just try to remember what they look like so you can give a description later.
The CDC says this morning that fentanyl is now the deadliest drug in America. That synthetic painkiller is up to 100 times more potent than morphine, and small traces can be fatal. Fentanyl was involved in almost a third of heroin overdoses in the United States between 2013 and 2016. In that same time span, the rate of drug overdoses involving fentanyl more than doubled.
There's a new report out this morning that has Wisconsin dropping in the country's health rankings. The United Health Foundation says we are down 2 places to 23rd in the race for the healthiest state. Some of our top issues are excessive drinking. We're one of the worst in the U.S. for that. And in the past 6 years, obesity has increased 16%, now impacting 32% of adults in the state.
I'm Josh Sprider live along the Beltline where the snow is falling. It's stacking up and traffic is beginning to slow. We've seen probably around a dozen salt trucks drive by within the past hour. City and county crews are out in full force this morning treating those roadways, but officials are urging you to give yourself some extra time as you head off to work and school this morning, and be sure to take it slow.
Snow is moving through the Madison area as we speak this morning. It's a fairly narrow band. Here's a live look from the Edgewater Skycam. Just a few moments ago, you could see the Capitol, but now it's hard to see it even on that shot. Here's a look at Doppler track. The heaviest snow impacting the Madison area right now. It will continue to lift off to the north and east rather quickly. The snow is already starting to let up here at the station. Less than an inch of accumulation is expected in most areas today. Temperatures will hold steady through the afternoon in the low to mid 30s.
We are waiting to hear if there's any notable damage in Tennessee after a 4.4 magnitude earthquake this morning. This registered as that 4.4 centered near Decatur, which is southwest of Knoxville. People living in Atlanta, though, about 160 miles away, did report feeling some shaking. This is the second strongest quake on record for eastern Tennessee. The strongest was a 4.7 magnitude earthquake 45 years ago.
Overseas, the president of France is holding an emergency meeting in Paris today as hundreds of officers and air units search for the gunman in a deadly shooting at a Christmas market. It happened overnight in the city of Strasbourg near the border with Germany. 3 people are confirmed dead, 13 others are injured. Officers have the border secure there and are upping security measures across the country. Neighbors of that gunman tell reporters he became unstable after spending time in jail.
President Trump's former personal lawyer will be sentenced today in a Manhattan courtroom. Michael Cohen could face prison time for tax evasion, lying to Congress, and campaign finance violations. He pleaded guilty to arranging payments to the president's alleged mistresses during the 2016 election. Court documents released last week showed Cohen arranged the payments, quote, in coordination with and at the direction of the president.
President Trump says he will allow the government to partially shut down if he doesn't get the billions he wants to build the border wall with Mexico. Senator Chuck Schumer and Senate Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi are willing to spend $1 billion on border security, but the president wants $5 billion for that wall. A partial government shutdown is less than a week and a half away.
Governor Walker says he's considering a veto of certain items in a series of bills passed in a lame duck session last week. The governor didn't specify what he might veto, but said his legal team is scouring the bills now, adding the idea that Governor-elect Tony Evers would be stripped of power is mostly hype and hysteria. Governor Walker has until the 27th to take action on those bills.
An environmental law center is suing the state DNR because that agency refuses to hand over records related to diverting Lake Michigan water for the Foxconn plant. Midwest environmental advocates challenged the DNR's approval of Racine's request to pull millions of gallons from the lake daily for that plant. They got some records in October, but claim the DNR is withholding others.
I'm Christina Laurie. City planners are asking for your help in designing Madison's new public transportation system. They're asking for your ideas during a public input session tonight for the bus rapid transit system. The city is working to build designated lanes with limited stops that'll help people get to work, school, and other places more quickly. More buses would be added to the Metro Transit fleet with new features like onboard Wi-Fi. City officials say they hope to have construction of the east to west BRT route done in 2023 or 2024. That meeting starts at 6 o'clock tonight at the Central Library downtown.
Thank you so much, Christina. Speaking of getting around, let's turn it over to Jason Stone with one more look at your slick commute this morning. Hi, Jason.
Hello. Drivers are getting delayed on the westbound Beltline from Stoughton through Monona Drive and seeing brake lights at Rimrock. Eastbound traffic is slowing down at Verona Road, clearing before Fish Hatch. Motorists on John Nolan are moving well outside the congestion found at the Rimrock intersection. And please give yourself extra time for your morning commute while you give other vehicles needed space as some roads are slippery. With your First Alert Traffic, I'm Jason Stone.
Thank you so much, Jason.
And there's the view, or lack thereof, of the Capitol this morning from the Edgewater Sky Cam. Snow still coming down pretty hard in downtown Madison, so be aware of that. If you're ready to hit the roads right now, give yourself a little extra time and go a little slow. The snow is quickly moving through the area, though. It's only going to impact the morning today. We're looking at cloudy skies for the afternoon with temperatures holding steady in the low to mid 30s.
All right, you heard Jason, you heard Hattie. Take it slow on the roads this morning. You saw Josh, quite a bit of snow falling down there out on the roads. One last look at the Beltline this morning. You're going to see some salt trucks out there too. Have a good day, folks.